Well, for starters, just tell me a little bit about the situation where you helped save a child.
So I was watching traffic, and my radio in my patrol car is actually one of the only radios that scans our ambulance service. And I heard the call go out that there was an emergency response to the gas station for a 1.5-year-old that was not breathing. And I was very close to the gas station. I just happened to look over and I see the van pull up and I see people getting out and running around. And I was like, well, that has to be it. So I just took off over there as quick as I could.
And when you showed up, what was happening and what did you do to help out?
Well, what had happened, from what I understand, was the child had been very sick and went into a seizure and was not breathing. And when I got over there, I asked if anybody had started chest compressions or CPR. And the stepdad had started a little bit, but from the angle that he was doing it, the child didn't have an airway that was open and its eyes was still rolled back. So I asked him, I said, let me take over. So I took over and I put my hand behind her neck and
Oh, yeah, I think I just lost your audio.
about 8 or 9 chest compressions in, and she kind of spit up a little bit and rolled over and her eyes came back.
What was that feeling like when you saw the baby start to breathe again?
Um, Very relieved. I was I won't lie, I was really scared that she wasn't going to wake up. And I was very relieved.
Mm-hmm.
I was glad that she was okay and that she came out of it, came to.
Now, is this something that's typical for you guys? Is have you ever done something like this before?
I've only done it one other time in my career. It was definitely it wasn't like this situation. This is something that's I guess a little more rare for us for here. It's a smaller area.
Mhm.
So it was kind of a shock that it happened. But we get so many people from different states that come through because we're right here off I-59. So anything can happen at any time, really.
Yeah, and what was it like after what happened after the baby started to breathe again? Did they thank you or anything like that?
The family was definitely relieved. I If I take over something on a scene, I don't give it up until like a supervisor or if the ambulance service gets there. So I just kind of held her and tried to keep her awake until ambulance service got there, and they shook my hand and thanked me for being there, and then glad that I was there and I knew what to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what do you think would have happened if you wouldn't have heard that call over the scanner?
I'm really scared to think about what would happen because in moments like that, they say seconds save lives. And in this situation, it definitely helped that I was very close by and that I heard it and didn't wait to be dispatched. I just went.
Hmm. Kind of like in the right place, just at the right time.
Absolutely. And I knew what to do.
Yeah, and if you could, I guess maybe give some advice for what parents should know, or anybody really about CPR, what would you say?
I would say definitely enroll yourself in a child and pediatric CPR class because it will definitely and can definitely help and save their lives, their children's lives, anyone.
That's an interesting point that you said, like a pediatric CPR class. How does it kind of differ from what you would give an adult?
For an adult, of course, you'd use both hands in the correct placement. For maybe say a younger child or a toddler, you use one hand. For an infant, for a baby, you'd use two fingers. And it's
Mm,
about knowing where to put your hands and the size of the child and where to do the compressions at, and it all makes a huge difference.
can you describe what you needed to know to treat the 1-year-old girl?
Normally, a 1-year old I wouldn't have used a whole hand, but this was a big baby. She was a year and a half old and she was big. And just the right placement and the right depth of the chest on the compressions is absolutely what's needed to know in that situation.
Interesting. Well, anything else about the experience, or what you went through yesterday during this call that you kind of wanted to share that you think would be helpful for our story?
I just really wish people would take the time to enroll themselves in classes like that, like I mentioned before, because not knowing what to do in a situation like that could be the difference in life and death.
Mm-hmm. So you said the baby was having a seizure. Was she choking on anything as well?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The airway was clear. She just, when she came to, she spit up a little bit. It was just kind of saliva and a little bit that was trapped in her lungs, I believe.
How did you know CPR was the right move to take?
When she wasn't breathing, she was blue a little bit. That was when I knew that I needed to start compressions as soon as possible.
Thank you. And can you tell me, this happened around what time yesterday and at what gas station you said?
It was about 11 o'clock p.m. on Wednesday, August the 2nd, at the
Wednesday.
MAPCO gas station,
And what city again?
Collinsville.
Collins. So it did happen in city limits.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time to tell this little story. We hope people will hear this and enroll themselves and learn how to do some CPR.
I hope they do. It could save someone's life.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you, ma'am, very much.
All right, you have a good one.
You too, ma'am.